Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sports Shorts Daily. Ronnie Rance alongside Tommy Chrysant. TK coming to us on Friday mornings like he does over at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood in Baton Rouge. I'm at an undisclosed location presented by the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and our show, every show, radio, TV, you name it, internet, brought to you by LeBear's Casino, where we'll be tomorrow. LeBear's Casino in Baton Rouge. We'll be there tomorrow for our remote Sports Shorts Radio, 10 to noon. Check it out on ESPN Radio Baton Rouge. We'll be at the bar at the sports book tomorrow. Lunch starts at 11 at the sports book. The sports book grill has breakfast as well till 10. So go by, check it out, and a great place to watch all the games. Of course, the national championship was packed. They had people watching it there on Monday night as Michigan rolled. And, I thought today, Tommy, we might, kind of follow up on Michigan or follow up in the national championship, talk, maybe even get a little more thoughts on some of that. And then all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose since our last show Wednesday morning when Nick Saban decided to retire. And then Bill Belichick is out at New England, two guys that, of course, are linked together so well. Nick Saban credited Bill Belichick for a lot of his stuff from the time together in Cleveland when Nick was the D coordinator and Belichick was the head coach, and they're close friends and all that kind of stuff. And two legends, one arguably the greatest football coach in pros and one arguably the greatest college coach, both retire in the same week, which is unbelievable to think that actually happened. Nick Saban is thought to really be retiring. Bill Belichick, not so much. Let's start with Saban. Your reaction, Tommy, when you heard he was retiring, did it catch you off guard from a standpoint of, were you thinking this might happen this year or what?
I wasn't thinking it was going to happen. When I heard the news, I was surprised. And then when I thought about it for 2 minutes, not surprised. And then when you see him talk about being 72 years old, and he said there's no health concern, but for the time, he just can't do it the way he wants to do it at that age. The body's slowing down. I'm 10 years younger than that. Trust me, I know it's slowing down. And you're 10 years behind me, and you know it's slowing down. So he's going to have an office in the stadium, and he's still going to be working at Alabama. And, a lot of people said this. I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised. I did see a real funny meme. It was Belichick and Saban like they were talking to each other. Belichick's like, I'm going to go Tuesday. And Saban's going, well, I'm going to announce mine on Wednesday. Quit asking. They argued about who was going to announce what when. But, it's really a monumental week in sports when, as you said, Ronnie, the greatest college football coach ever and arguably the greatest NFL coach ever, both retire the same week. Now, Belichick's going to coach again. There are 8 jobs open, in the NFL, counting here, 7, because Gerard Mayo is going to be the Patriots' next coach. That press conference is next week. He wants to coach again. I think somebody's going to hire him. Saban is not going to coach again. He's going to have an office in Bryant-Denny Stadium. Sooner or later, it'll be Nick Saban Field. And then he's going to do TV work and more commercials, and he's not going away. He's just not coaching the Alabama Crimson Tide. And Ronnie, it was pointed out that morning, he had a 4 o'clock team meeting. That morning, he interviewed 2 potential assistant coaches to coach wide receivers. Nobody had a clue this was coming, and a lot of the players commented that when they went to that 4 o'clock meeting, they just thought it was some kind of season wrap-up, not necessarily an exit meeting, but some kind of season wrap-up. Here's what you need to start doing now that we're going to take some time off. And then he announces that he's not going to coach anymore. Bama said, and of course, Ronnie, the ink wasn't dry on that. You had the list of potential candidates and who might get the job, this, that, and the other. Now, a lot of people need to thank Saban. A lot of people getting a big raise for this, like Dan Lanning at Oregon. His name surfaced real quick. All of a sudden, he got an extension at Oregon. So it's a major thing in the world of college football, major occurrence, and we'll just have to see how it plays out. But that's a long answer to your question, but I'm not totally surprised that he did that. I understand, I guess, is what I want to say.
I am. I'm surprised when you because again, it did come out of left field. Nobody really. He didn't have any health issues that we're aware of. He didn't He did probably one of his better coaching jobs this year, from a standpoint of, look, Alabama. People were talking about the demise of Alabama in September and how they were having the quarterback issues and all that, and this is Alabama, and then all of a sudden they're one of the best four teams in the country, and overtime away from being in a national championship game against a Michigan team that was completely dominant against Washington. So things looked like Alabama were fine, like nothing's changed. They are Alabama. And for him to, as you mentioned, have interview coaches in the morning, and then all of a sudden by the afternoon say, that's it. Whew, amazing. I find it interesting that he's going to keep an office in the stadium, because if you're the next coach, do you want that? You know what I mean? Like, let's say it's Dabo Sweeney and he comes over from Clemson. I don't know that I want Nick Saban around, quite frankly, because that legend, that shadow, already too big. Actually, there, whew, I don't know about that. I the way to justify paying him more money, right? It's just a way for Alabama to give him some thank you cash, for the next few years. But I don't know. I almost would rather just give him the cash and keep him away if you're the next head coach. That's not a shadow you want to follow.
I don't know, Ronnie. I mean, I'm recalling Tuesday night, the Champions of the Diamond event, when they all want Skip Bertman around. Paul Maneri wanted him, Jay Johnson wanted him, Smoke the Law didn't work. But, I mean, I don't know. If you're going to be the coach in Alabama, you might want to know you can pop into Saban's office or have him pop into your office and just, talk some things out or whatever. I mean, it's not going to go away whether he's in the stadium office or not. You're still following Nick Saban, okay? And, like somebody told me the other day, so, he won 6 titles at Bama, 1 at LSU. So the next coach comes in there and wins 5 titles, somebody's going to say, yeah, well, you're still 1 behind Nick, So, I mean, it's and nobody's going to win 6, just like nobody's going to do what Coach Bertman did and win 5 in a 10-year window. I don't think that'll happen. So, I don't know. He's not going to go away. He's going to be there, and he's going to be on TV, and he's going to he's going to be around. He said he's not leaving Tuscaloosa. He's got a lake house in Georgia. He's got a beach house in Destin, Florida. So, he's still going to call Tuscaloosa his home.
Well, Smoke Laval, you mentioned Smoke Laval. Smoke Laval, of course, was the head coach at LSU baseball who followed Skip Bertman. And that lasted 5 years, and then he got let go, and then they brought in Paul Maneri. People forget that Smoke Laval did Omaha twice during 5 years, and actually during that 5, second most wins in the SEC during SEC play, only 1 game behind Ray Tanner, who's a legendary coach at South Carolina. So it wasn't like the bottom fell out with Smoke Laval, but there's a long story. But my point being is that Smoke always said prior to taking that job, because he was always asked a lot in the 90s, would he take the job hard? And he said, actually, he said, I don't want to be the guy to follow the legend. I want to be the guy to follow the guy. And yet he broke his rule and became the guy to follow Skip. And of course, it didn't work out. It's much easier to be the guy to follow the guy than it is to be the guy. Look at Ray Perkins, right? That didn't go so well, when he followed the Bear. I would say that I would much rather be the guy that's going to be follow the guy. You're going to have somebody come in there. They're not going to be able to live up to Nick Saban. They're going to get rid of him. They're going to be hating him. And then you come in and you can be more the hero. But anyway, they're going to do it a different way. I can't imagine Nick's going to be there every day. I think this is just simply a way to look. Here's an office. Do what you want. Come and go as you please. We can justify still paying you, $5 million a year or whatever, however much money they want to give him, just because he's going to be around, and they can maybe take him to lunch every once in a while with some boosters to keep the cash rolling. That's the whole idea of really why they're doing it, is to make sure that the funds keep flowing. But that said, Nick's retiring. I want to go over to Belichick for a minute. I'm okay with Bill. I love Bill Belichick. I'm okay with them leaving New England. They're going to promote. What I don't want, Tommy, is for Bill Belichick to end up in Atlanta. That would be the worst. Where Bill Belichick, we have to, I can come back to something, Tommy. Too loud over there. But what I don't want is for Bill Belichick to end up being the next coach of Atlanta. And I don't know, maybe Nick Saban gets bored and just decides to run over there and consult or be the D coordinator or something. I don't want Bill Belichick to be in Atlanta. We've got Dennis Allen. We're going to have Dennis Allen in New Orleans, and we're going to have Bill Belichick with the Dirty Birds. Like, that's just not going to work out too well. Much like Tom Brady in Tampa.
Well, yeah, we'll have to wait and see how that goes. No telling. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm curious, and I can't wait for the announcements and all of that. So, yeah, I don't know. We may get some NFL coaching announcements today. I think they'll lay off over the weekend because of a wild card weekend. Monday's a holiday, Martin Luther King Day around the country. So I don't know that we'll get any NFL news until Tuesday. That's why Mayo's press conference is not till next week with the Patriots. But you never know if one of the other teams will, come out with some announcement later today. I don't know. And of course, the coaching carousel's full speed ahead, both on the college level and the NFL.
What I'm curious about is, Bill Belichick, what's going through his mind, and nobody knows because he doesn't speak. He doesn't tell you what he's thinking. But, would he want to go to a program? I mean, obviously, somebody like Arthur Blank, for example, the owner of the Falcons. I mean, hey, Bill, you write your check, whatever you want, whatever you need. You want full control? Sure, come on. Or does Bill look at it like, okay, well, I want to go somewhere where they have a quarterback in place, or I'm curious or maybe if there's certain cities or places he doesn't want to live. We just don't know what he thinks and what he's thinking. But I can tell you that I think that wherever he goes, Tommy, it's going to be successful because I think the juice and the energy and the belief and the buy-in that Bill Belichick brings when he walks into a room in an organization is what Tom Brady brought to Tampa. Like we can win now. We can turn this organization around right now, not 3 years from now, right now. So it's going to be one of the most interesting stories of 2024. No doubt about it. I mean, just what a crazy year it already is. We're going to have Nick Saban retired. We're going to have Bill Belichick on a different sideline. It's absolutely incredible. All right, we move on. We didn't even talk really much the other day about Michigan winning the national championship. And oh, by the way, still no word yet if Harbaugh is going to be back in Michigan. I mean, again, and talking about another legend, a national championship coach, it's all expected that he's not going to be back in Michigan. That he's going to go to the pros and with one of those jobs that are open that you talked about. And we saw Deion Sanders come out and say the GOAT is retired and NIL is to play for it and transfer portal is to play for it. Are you buying that? I think it is. I think Nick Saban expedited his retirement.
Saban said no, that was not the reason because he said he embraced it the last 3 years. And, that don't mean it wasn't part of the reason. It wasn't up near the top of the list, I don't think. I think just being 72 and Father Time, I think he just decided it was time. And look, Saban isn't the guy to me that would want that farewell tour where when they play at somebody next year, they do a little ceremony and give him some kind of gift. That doesn't seem like, to me, something Saban would be into. His record speaks for itself. He doesn't need all that, okay? Not this bad idea, but no. And you're right. Here we are, not even halfway through January, and some of the top stories of the entire year, with 11 and a half months to go, have occurred already.
To me, Saban's like Tony Gwynn or like Michael Jordan. They'll come up with stats and things that are just incredible for the next.
They already have.
To me, one of the most interesting stats I saw that they posted on Instagram and social media was in Nick Saban's time in Alabama, he had 44 first-round picks, only 29.
Well, and the other thing, anybody who played 4 years for him won at least one national championship. I think that happened with Denny Crum in Louisville basketball way back in the day, where you won a championship, went to a Final Four if you played for him, and that was over a large window of time back then. Of course, John Wooden in ancient days. But no, and there's been more stats about Saban that have come out that are just mind-boggling when Greg Sankey, the SEC commissioner, said it best. I mean, what he's done for college football. Look at all the coaches who have a lot of money because he got that. What did LSU give him? $2.1 million. when he came from Michigan State and everybody, huh?
Like the biggest, second biggest, third biggest, something like that.
Well, it's comparable to when Tiger Woods, he caused everybody on the tour to make more money. Okay, Saban caused all college football coaches to make more money. You know, Skip Bertman showed college baseball teams you could make money and be successful. I mean, these are different type of people in the sports world. You know, elite people, use the term Coach Bertman likes to use a lot. You know, Saban's elite and his impact on the game, the number of assistant coaches, the number of people who became head coaches. I mean, same thing with Belichick. I mean, again, this is a major sports story with these two guys retiring on back-to-back days. And ironically, as you said, they worked together with the Cleveland Browns. Now, Ronnie, an old friend of mine, is not with us anymore, but Coach Woody, who I met real well at Southeastern back in the day, he was on that staff with Belichick and Saban in Cleveland. He was one of the linebacker coaches, and he told me a lot of funny stories about Belichick and Saban, even way back then.
You mentioned, it's the thing that I'll remember about. I know you were too. I was at the press conference when Nick Saban arrived from Michigan State. And to think about where he was at then and where he's at now, a lot of people didn't know who Nick Saban was. It was an odd hire for hardcore LSU fans that always want someone from the South, always want someone with LSU ties. But it was the right hire. Remember, he came with that little mock turtleneck. You know, that was his go-to thing that he wore a lot, was those little mock turtlenecks, which not the turtleneck, the mock, which then became giant for like 2 years. Everybody in Louisiana, with 3 years, everybody was wearing mock turtlenecks with blazers. Ernie Accorsi was the general manager, longtime general manager of the New York Giants for a long time. Ernie Accorsi, famous in NFL circles back in the 70s and 80s and 90s. And he was working for the Giants. And I remember going to the Super Bowl when the Giants played the Baltimore Ravens in Tampa Bay. That would have been in January of 21. I'm sorry, of 01, January of 01. And it was literally the Super Bowl, the first Super Bowl right after Saban had been the coach in 2000, first year at LSU, because Saban, fall of 2000, was the head coach at LSU. And he just finished his first season. I go to the Super Bowl. I'm working for Leslie Vissers, and we're interviewing Ernie Accorsi during the week for the pregame Super Bowl show. And we're finished recording the interview. We're standing around talking. She had introduced me earlier. He knew I was an LSU guy. And so I was like, Mr. Corsi, we have, a guy you're familiar with. And he, very well, as our head coach, Nick Saban. He goes, oh, man, he's a great coach. He goes, I tried to hire him 3 times with the New York Giants, and he turned me down all 3 times, and over the years when he was in the NFL and when he was at Michigan State. And he was telling me what a great coach he was. He goes, but he did say, but how many assistant coaches or secretaries has he gotten rid of? And I laughed because it just came out like that week of the Super Bowl that 2 or 3 assistant coaches were being replaced. And, and I knew that in the office, one, like a secretary had been replaced. He goes, he is tough. He is tough on those he works with. He's 24/7. He's a grinder. You got to be in that same mindset. He goes, but he's a great coach, and he's going to do a great job at LSU. And that was Ernie Accorsi year 1. I mean, that was, losing to UAB on the Josh Booty pick 6. LSU still hadn't quite hit their stride yet. Remember, it was the 01 season when they went to the Sugar Bowl. So he knew that this guy was going to be a great coach. Now, he didn't say he was going to be the greatest college coach of all time, which is what he is. But he was well thought of even back then in NFL circles that LSU had gotten a good one. And Alabama fans, I saw Matt Moscona's reaction on 104.5 and many people's reaction like, oh, thank God he's gone. That's it. Alabama's done. I don't think so. Look at what happened to LSU. Tommy, LSU doesn't win a national championship under Les Miles, doesn't win a national championship under Ed Rogeron, doesn't have Brian Kelly here doing what it's doing with Heisman Trophy winners if it's not for the foundation that Nick Saban left. The improvements to facilities, the structure, the expectations, the how to do things, the putting LSU on the map as one of the top, 5 colleges in the country to go and take it to the NFL and all that all that is due to Nick Saban. It's not due to Jerry DiNardo. It's not due to Mike Archer. It's not due to anybody. It's not due to any Charles McClendon. It's due to Nick Saban. And he set it up, and the structure and the system is in place, and it's foolproof. You can win with Les Miles. You can win with Ed Ogeron. You can, and I think Alabama's going to be the same way. Don't look for Alabama to all of a sudden come back to reality. They are still Alabama. They still have the structure. They still have the system. And, oh, by the way, they still have Nick Saban with an office down the hall. I think they're going to be still top 4 team in the country every year.
I agree with you, and I've said it for 20 years. There should be a statue of Saban outside of Tiger Stadium. Because like you said, he planted all the seeds that have been sowed since then by, Miles and Orgeron and others. And, football's the engine, of the whole train of the athletic department. And it helped the athletic department grow as well. In all sports, the track and field, which was already phenomenal. The tennis, the golf. I mean, and you throw all that stuff in there. There's beach volleyball now. That all groundwork was laid by the efforts of Nick Saban. Convinced. Look, Ronnie, you and I both were among the 37 guys that had radio shows in the late 90s and early 2000s. And I remember many a passionate LSU fan saying they would trade all 5 baseball titles for 1 football title. That was like that got legs that one year.
A lot of people
that was like an unwritten thing. Like I can give up all 5 of the baseball if we could get 1 football. Okay. Well, guess what? Saban delivered that 1 football, and you didn't have to give up baseball. And baseball's got 2 more, and LSU football's got 2 more. So it's like Skip said at the thing the other night. The University of Washington played for the championship the other night. They didn't win it, but their school has won national championship. Mississippi State, the whole school, won national championship. LSU has over 50. Let that sink in.
All right. Changing subjects dramatically. LSU's women's basketball team rolls last night in front of a big crowd against Texas A&M, a good team. They win by, 17-18. They have no problem. LSU's women's hoops is barreling down the road towards that South Carolina matchup at the end of the month. Can't wait for it. It'll be in the PMAC. The men, shockingly 2-0. They're on the road at Auburn. So we will, keep an eye on that. LSU played a terrible Vanderbilt team. One team in the I thought was worse than season. Vanderbilt, they proved that. But LSU did beat a surprising Texas A&M team last Saturday on the road by a 27-point swing based on the odds. So we'll see if they can shock the world again this Saturday at Auburn. The Pelicans, man, what's gotten into them, Tommy? They've been eating their Wheaties, man.
Yeah, you got to get to the sports book. They play tonight, and they're getting 8.5 points. They're in the middle of a 5-game road swing. They won the first 2 games by like 30 points each game. The biggest back-to-back wins in franchise history, with point differential. And they're getting 8.5 points tonight on the road against the Nuggets, who are the defending world champions. The Nuggets 26-13, Pelicans 23-15. So I don't know. 8.5 might look good, or they do for a letdown. You got to check who's playing, who's not playing. But the Pelicans are quickly becoming a big story. Ronnie, 3 more games and they're halfway through the NBA season. Pelicans have played 38 games. So, 3 more, that's the halfway mark. But they have been hot. They've been getting different guys to, lead them in scoring. They've been spreading their wealth around a little bit. They're a hot basketball team right now, no doubt.
This is exciting. I mean, with 8.5, I know they're the Nuggets, the defending champs. They're at home. It makes sense, the line. But hey, if you're a Pelicans fan or you just want to throw a little fun on there to show some faith, it's a lot of points for a team right now that's just playing as well as they have the entire year. So might want to take a look at that. Check out the lineup before game time. See if the big 3 are playing or 2 of the big 3. Make sure You make sure nothing's funky or weird. They're not resting everybody, and then maybe put a little action on that game. Tommy and I will be back on the air tomorrow morning from 10 to noon on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. We'll be live at the Barstool Sportsbook. By the way, check out social media with the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. We're going to be doing a video, be posting a video tomorrow from the Champions of the Diamond event. Again, can't thank everybody who came out and guests. Can't thank Roger Clemens and the Bengal Bells and Philip Cancelleri taking photos and Chris Lecoq and everybody. We've got a lot of stuff we'll be dumping on social media Saturday and Sunday evening to sort of get a little fun recap of that. By the way, first pitch banquet for LSU baseball, not this Sunday, next Sunday, sold out. But I'll be there doing the auction and stuff. They'll have 1,000 people in the ballroom across town in Baton Rouge getting ready for LSU baseball. TK, anything else on the way out? Tell us about Tremonti's.
No, that's real good. Hey, deer process, and all you deer hunters, you head to the woods this weekend. Come on in here, get that deer process, all the wine and liquor and beer that you need. Lunch, catering, on-site catering, they can bring it to you, or you can pick it up. Tremonti's Meat and Seafood, a great place. Mike and the staff do a super job. Check them out. Jefferson Highway in Baton Rouge. And again, all you deer hunters, or you know somebody that's a deer hunter, this is the place to get your deer processed. And here at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood, they've been doing it a long time, and they do a great job. Don't forget tomorrow morning, Sports Shorts Radio, 104.5 ESPN, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Ronnie Ransom, myself, Joel Davis, Derek Beckwith, and a whole cast of characters tomorrow. Hey, hope everybody has a really good weekend. Don't forget to like and share this show. That helps everybody. I'm Tommy Carousel. Have a good day, everyone.